Hi, Veronica, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, good, good. Have you had much snow? We've had snow. Did I tell you that?
Oh, it is snowing as we speak.
Yay!
Yeah.
I went running yesterday and it was snowing while I was running.
Oh, you're crazy.
I know. Anyway, step 10. Let me refresh our memories of what step 10 is. Step 10 is continue to take personal inventory and when we were wrong, promptly admit it.
This is the step. This is the most important step. There's one key word in this, and it's continued. And that kind of, for me, just sums up the whole steps. And I think the fatal mistake sometimes people make is that you do the steps and then you're done. You're fixed. You just get on with your life. You've gone through them. And the steps are, as I've said many times, they work all in conjunction together and they're living and organic and they continue. And the best, comparison is really about, it's healthy eating. You eat healthily for 6 weeks, change your exercise around, and you notice dramatic improvements, and then you stop doing it.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same with, and I'm not talking necessarily about drinking again. I'm talking about emotional sobriety and emotional well-being, because there's plenty of people with long-term sobriety who are not emotionally well. And by that, I mean they're still dominated by their fears, their resentments, their low self-esteem, and they're not drinking to cope with those feelings anymore. They're undoubtedly using some other substance or coping behavior that's not very healthy. So we're really talking about maintaining our emotional sobriety and our emotional wellness. And this is the recovered bit, is, it's recovering from that state of thinking and feeling. It's recovering from that. So it's just such a, beautiful step. It's really, the inventory process that you go through in step 4, it's just about continuing to do that. So it's continuing to just, on a very regular basis, look at yourself. Just really look at yourself in a really structured way. So for me, it's, from time to time when someone really bothers me. And for me, it's when we have this expression, when someone rents space in your head. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm lying, when you're lying in bed and you're having that conversation with someone, going, and they say this, and I'll say that. And they're renting space in your head. So that's immediately for me like, oh, I need to do something about this. I need to look at it. And I do the process that I did in step 4, and something just comes, and I could, usually I can see, I'm just wanting them to do what I want them to do, and they're not being how I want them to be, so I'm pissed off at them or whatever. And I generally find as you go on in your sobriety, the step 4, step 5 process really, steps 4 to 9 really deal with the past and the big stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be incredibly liberating. But then there's still people in the world that we have to deal with. So it's just this day to day, and it's, it's the people that appear, my husband, maybe somebody I work with, or, something like that. And those thoughts they're like weeds in my mind. If I don't deal with them, then they just grow and they get out of shape and they block me. The other day, I was feeling that way towards my husband about various things, none of them significant. But I just knew I had this really negative attitude towards him, and it was really starting to bother me. Here's the thing. There's something really seductive about resentments. There's part of me that really wanted to chew on it. There's something, I quite like feeling self-righteous. There's a seduction in that feeling. And sometimes I'll do it for a little while before I'm really prepared to go, you know what? Nothing good ever comes of this. Because when I see my husband, I'm not very nice to him because I have all this stuff going on. So I had to do my inventory process, and it kind of just forces me to just look at how I'm behaving and what I can change. And immediately I feel completely different towards my husband. And then our home life is just so much better.
Okay.
It's that. It's that in a nutshell.
Okay.
Um, you also look at your fears. And I have to say, all my original fears have been dealt with. All my original fears, not being good enough, not being loved, they're ridiculous to me now, but they were really real fears for me many, many years ago. Now, you're never going to be free from fear as long as you're living and breathing. We're always going to, if we're growing and changing, we're always going to have experiences that are frightening to us. So I have fears, sure. I mean, once you're a parent, that never goes away. But now I have a way of dealing with them to keep them right size so they don't take me over. So, my fears are just, they're appropriate. I'm a mother, So it's just a way of dealing with that kind of stuff. And, part of my inventory is also to look at what I'm grateful for as well, and really just focus on what, what is good in my life, and really kind of keep that balance. And, this step, I think, more than any, has freed me, because the first, those steps 4 to 9 really launched me into a different place. But in order to really, those in themselves, there were still lots of issues that I had that required this continued just scratching away. Particularly, I had a big issue with relationships. I had to just keep looking at myself. I had to keep being forced to look at what it was that I was doing that kept getting these results that I didn't want. And that's what makes this process just so valuable.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I'm wondering, I'm doing daily meditation practice. It's mindful meditation. It's part of the Cambridge course that I'm doing. And so we have to kind of, for 10, 20 minutes, try and still the mind. And I'm wondering if it's a similar but different kind, because you are working on yourself, and you are, looking at your thoughts, putting a pause in, and, and altering the way you feel about it. But I'm wondering if it is similar, I guess.
I mean, I think that sounds brilliant, and what that really fits into is actually step 11.
Oh, okay.
Step 10 is it's a practical step. I mean, it requires me to write things down. And there's something incredibly powerful about writing stuff down. I may have in the back of my mind that, I'm being a bit unfair to my husband, but when I kind of write it down and look at it, it sort of I can't escape me anymore. And then, from time to time, sometimes I call somebody and discuss it with them, because sometimes I can't see what it is. I'm still like, but no, they're doing this to me. It's so unfair. I can't see how the little catch that I'm looking for to be free. And sometimes I need someone else to help me with that, which is the whole thing about sponsorship.
And that was kind of the only thought that I had, was that we all have blind spots, that when you were talking, there are things that we just can't see, and you need someone else's help to see them for you, almost. So, yeah.
And that's, having a trusted person to really help you. And again, the person that I use never really points them out. He kind of just lets me speak. And as I'm speaking, I'm kind of having that, when you have that moment where you're like, yeah.
Yeah, the light bulb goes on.
And, certain issues I've had, it's taken me a while. I've moved a bit. But my experience has been continuing this process. Eventually, whatever it is, I chip away at it and it cracks eventually. And I have this massive realization about myself, and then I'm rocketed into a different place.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.